Hi guys, in today's video I'll tell you what is it that is known as the center of your life, how to identify your center in life, and how after identifying your center in life it can change the way you look at your complete life altogether. Hi guys, this is Anurag Mehta and you're watching the AM Talk. Guys, I'm an entrepreneur in advertising industry for last 10 years. I've been working with a lot of brands across various industries in these last 10 years. What I do for these brands is develop brand campaigns and all that. I've told you that in my last video also, but if you're new here, you must know who I am. Whom are you watching to? So guys, I've been running my business for last 10 years, and in these last 10 years running this business, generating employment, working with a lot of people, what I realize is that business is a roller coaster ride. There are always ups and there are always down. What I did, I developed a habit of learning new things constantly so that I can face my downs very easily. Whenever there was a challenge which used to be bigger than my individual capability, either I used to take help from other people, my colleagues, or either I used to go back to the workshop and learn new things. So over these years, I learned a lot of things through various methods: reading books, watching internet, meditating, a lot of things, and thus I realized, I'll not say that I'm a great meditator, but I sought meditation whenever I face new challenges. I am not a regular meditator as of now, but I still approach meditation because I feel that's a great way to sort things out internally, within you. And then apart from that, when I was learning all these things through books, meditation, internet, other resources, I gathered a lot of pool of knowledge, and eventually I thought I still do that. I keep on book reading is a great habit of mine, and I suggest that everybody should read book. I feel that books are kind of vaults that you can access to whenever you need money of knowledge. So I always say that whosoever have written these books, any topic that you're not good at, any area of life where you're facing challenges, somebody would have been an expert in those areas, and he must have written or documented something. So you can sort that book out, take his experience, take his knowledge, and try to solve your challenge. Coming back to the topic, when I was gathering so much of knowledge, I realized that I should share it also, because I truly believe that when you share knowledge, it increases, and therefore the channel. So guys, please like this video and subscribe my channel, because that motivates me more further to do all this efforts to come up with new video ideas and share it with you. Thank you. So guys, right away let's dive into the topic. What is the center of your life? What do we mean by center? Well, actually, center is something, it's kind of a lens through which you see the whole world. I'll also give you some example later, but for right now, just understand this: the center is a lens through which you see the whole world. Just like this particular lens, I need these lenses to see things around me. Similarly, center is something at the core of your life that helps you to see the whole world. Now, here at the center, you deal with things like your visions, your values. It is here that you use your self-awareness to understand what are your principles. It is here that you deal with your consciousness to discover your unique talents. It is here that you use your imagination to understand and discover what is your vision, and what is the end that you desire for your life. Now guys, understand this, that whatever will be at the center of your life will become the source of your security, your wisdom, your guidance, and your power. Again, understand this. Whatever is at the center of your life will become the source of your security, your guidance, your wisdom, and your power. What are these things? Well, these are four factors which underline all the areas of a life. In all the areas of a life where you work, where you perform, where you have to act, there has to be underlining security, guidance, wisdom, and power, and so how does that work is, I'll tell you. Security, what is security? Security is your intrinsic sense of self-worth or lack of it. I'll give you example later, but understand this: security is something which is your intrinsic self-worth, your self-esteem. What is guidance? Guidance is your capability of taking decision making. What is wisdom? Wisdom is the complete perspective of life. How do you see life? How do you judge life? It also helps in judgment. And what is power? Power is the capability to act. Now all these factors, all these four factors gain their energy from your core, from your center. So guys, I'll give you so all these four factors that I just mentioned, they are like a scale, like you rate from 1 to 5 in your apps like Ola, Uber and all that. Similarly, all these four factors also are rated from on a quantium. So for example, say your security, on security as a factor in your life, you can be a highly insecure person or you can be a highly intrinsically secure person. At the same time, your guidance, you can have zero decision making powers. You are not able to take decisions on small areas and events of your life. And on the other hand, if you have high level of guidance in your life, you have a great decision making capability. Wisdom is, if you lack wisdom, your judgment and your perspective towards life is very low and limited. And at the same time, if you have high level of wisdom, your perspective towards life is great. You have great judgment power. And power can go from great level of immobilization and lack of capability to act to high level of power intrinsically to act on stuff, So all these factors can be from low to high. So now I'll tell you guys that what is it that is the kind of types of centers. So people have a lot of types of centers. Now I'll tell you what kind of centers people have. For example, say you may be a spouse-centered person. What is a spouse-centered person? A spouse-centered person is somebody who is totally focusing his or energy towards his spouse or her spouse. For example, say if I am a spouse-centered person, I will always be focused towards my wife or girlfriend, All my decision will be at the back end. My mind will always be thinking whether my wife would be, happy with this decision or not, whether my girlfriend would be happy with this decision or not. This spouse-centeredness, if your center has spouse in it, if you're a spouse-centered person, there can be a lot of complications, guys. For example, you are emotionally dependent on your spouse all the time. If he or she is in good mood, then you are in good mood. If you're happy together, you're happy together. But if there are certain behaviors and attitudes flowing from the other person towards you which are negative according to you, your whole life crumbles. And guys, also, if you're a spouse-centered person, a lot of external environmental factors can also affect you. For example, children. For example, your in-laws. For example, your outer environment where certain negative emotions are coming towards you and you're not able to handle. What happens then? Then you get into fight or flight situations. You show aggressiveness. I'm sure you must have faced some situations where you're thinking that your spouse is just not able to understand you. And what kind of feelings started developing in? Because you're too much focusing on your spouse is not just a part of your life, but it's complete life as per you. So whenever you're having a fight, you become totally emotional. You become totally demotivated. It feels like nothing is happening, And what happens is you go into fight and flight, accusations, blaming each other. And when all this doesn't work, you go even deeper level of insecurity levels and you start giving sarcastic comments or you start hilarious comments. And and whenever you get a chance to prove yourself, you immediately go aggressively to the other person and start proving yourself. So spouse-centeredness, I would suggest, is not a great way to go about it. But then you can be a family-centered person. What is a family-centered person? A family-centered person is where his security comes completely from their image of family to the outer world. Their guidance comes completely from how people judge them as a family, So a lot of security, wisdom, guidance comes from the tradition that family follows, the principle that family follows. But here also a lot of trouble can come if you're a family-centered person. What can happen is, if as a parent you're a family-centered person, you will always be judging your kids whether they are behaving in a particular manner which goes as per the decorum of the family. And I hope you're getting me. So for example, if your kids have done something wrong, you will not give them some space to understand their mistakes. You will immediately scold them because they did something bad and that can destroy your family reputation. And especially if they did something bad in front of certain people. You know what I'm saying? So anything that harms your reputation as a family, that is not acceptable in a family-centric atmosphere. And parents are also very strict normally towards their kids, and it can be opposite guy also, guys. Parents can be too liberal because they don't want their kids to feel that their parents are strict. You're getting me? Because they're family centric, they may understand that if they scold their kids, it may become like a situation where their reputation goes down in front of their own kids. So family centric is also not good because security levels are low, because the security totally depends on your reputation of your family and the outside world and your complete reputation in front of your family members. Your wisdom is only in the areas of your family traditions. You're always thinking, and whatever wisdom you apply in your life, you apply towards your family. Not the outer factors, not your work, not your spouse, not your friends, nowhere, but always family centeredness. Your guidance, your decision making power is always focused towards your family members. You may not be very, if your work also needs you, but your family also needs you, you'll immediately go and help your family, which is good at some level also, but it may also be bad. Now, your power, you apply your power only towards your family. You do not apply your power in your work area. You do not apply your power in your family areas, and you feel completely immobilized if you feel that your family members are not respecting you. That destroys your confidence altogether. Now, what if you're a money-centered person? These are the examples of centers that I'm giving you. A money-centered person always takes all decisions as per money. So, for example, if you're asked to do overtime, but your family also needs you, you will not even take a second to do overtime, because you will feel that your family will understand that money is important. So every decision in life is backed with the economic point of view, a money point of view. But there is also a not good way, because I'll give you an example. Say if you have to take your children to maybe Disneyland or whatever, some at some friend's place, but at the same time your boss asks you to work. What will you do if you're a money-centered person? You will immediately go to the work. I understand, guys, that work is very important, but at the same time, your children and their childhood is also very important. So the best way to do is to divide, your priorities, to understand what is the priority at this point in time. But a money-centered person will not be able to understand that. So where is your security level? If you have good money in your life right now, your security is high. But due to any extrinsic factor, if you're facing some economic challenges, your security drops. What is your guidance level? Every decision that you take in your life is a money-centric decision. So guidance levels are high in economic areas, but they are very low in other areas of life. Your wisdom, you apply your wisdom only where it helps you to get more money. If it is not helping you to get more money, you will just block your wisdom part and try to save it for money-centric affairs only, and not apply into other areas of life. What is the power? You feel immense power when you have money. But if for any chance, your money is not there with you anymore, or if your net worth goes down, then your power levels also goes down. So everything is linked to your net worth. Security is high if net worth is high. Wisdom is high if net worth is high. Guidance levels are high if your net worth is high, and power levels are high if your net worth is down, and everything is low if your net worth is low. Everything is linked to your net worth. You may be a friend-centered person, So, but what happens is, friend-centric is also not good way of doing it, because if your friends are talking to you, feel great. If your friends are calling you, you're great. But I hope this has happened to you also. I'm sure this has happened to you also. If your friends just forgot to invite you to a party, how do you feel? Oh, demotivated, right? But if your friends are calling you to every party, calling you to every event, then you feel great. So you're linked to your friends. Your security level comes from your friends. Your guidance level, every decision that you do, you link it with how will your friends feel. Everywhere that you're invited, you feel whether my friend is also invited or not. I will go if my friend is invited. I will not go if my friend is not invited. Maybe that place is great, but you'll still not go because your friends are not there. So you're too much dependent for your security, guidance, wisdom, and power on your friends. Now you can be, you'll not believe this, but a lot of people are enemy-centered also. What is an enemy? Especially in the areas where you have to meet your enemy regularly, maybe work area. What happens there? Like, for example, if you feel that this particular work colleague is kind of an enemy or frenemy, and every decision is linked to that then. Whether he is doing late hours, oh, I'll also do late hours. If he's going out for dinner with boss, why the hell I was not invited? If he's getting a promotion, oh, why didn't I get the promotion? Even if at that point in life, promotion may not sound that great. if you're at stage, there are certain stages in life where promotion may not even sound great, but you will feel a lack of promotion just because he got it. So you're not focusing on what you want, but you're always focused on what he got or she got, you know. So what are the security levels? If he's performing better in his life, your security level goes down. All the guidance factors are related to him, power factors are related to him, you know. You feel powerful if he's not doing great. You feel powerless if he's doing great, better than you. I mean, what? Why the hell are you linked with him or her? So, enemy and friend-centeredness is also not that great, guys. Now, another kind of centeredness is self-centeredness, which is the most common centeredness these days. We call them selfish people. You know, these are the people like they always want to take, they don't want to give, you know. They always feel like, you know, their demands and their necessities should be met, and to hell with other people's necessities and demands. These people are motivated and feel powerful if they keep on getting things, but they are powerless if, you know, they're not able to focus on themselves. I'm not saying focusing on yourself is a bad idea, but at the same time, you need to give also. If the world is giving you, you know, you need to give back. Another kind of centeredness is possession centeredness, materialistic people. And I'm not talking about just physical possessions. There are mental possessions also, you know, my reputation, my life, my things, my centeredness and all that. My point is, possession-centered people feel high level of securities if they have all those possessions that they want. They feel insecure if their possessions are taken away from them. At the same time, possession-centered people have high level of guidance, but they apply that guidance only to collect more, take more, not to give back to the society. They feel powerful if they have all those things that they want. The next car, you know, the next house, the next bungalow, you know, the next bike, the next cool gadget, the next jewelry that I wanted, all those things, you know, the next Mac, the next iPhone and all that. But they feel less powerful if all those possessions are taken away. So they have low level in everything. Their security level is low, their wisdom level is low, their guidance level is always low, and their power level, ability to act, is always low, especially when their possessions are taken away from them. So guys, then if all these centers do not work, what is it that works? My suggestion is you should have a principle-centered approach. What are principles? Well, principles are your core values, you know, which you can relate to. Principles, guys, are something which are tested during times and times. You know, they are something which do not change. They are changeless. And when you have principles in your center, you have a changeless core. You know, a lot of people are not able to accept change because they don't have a changeless core inside them. If you have a changeless core inside them, if you're driven by strong value-based principles, then outer environment may change 1,000 times. It will not impact you the way it used to before. Now guys, if you have a changeless core, if you have value-based principles inside you, you will always take decisions which are better than the decisions that you were taking earlier, and you will always see life in a different way. What I want to explain is, I'll give you an example. Imagine you need to take your wife and children out for a concert today. Now, if you are a work-centered person, if you're a family-centered person, you would like to, if you're a family-centered person, you would like to leave office early today because you've promised your family members and spouse that you will take them to the concert and you will leave the work behind. But imagine your boss suddenly calls you and asks you to stay late at night because there is a sudden presentation that is there tomorrow morning and you need to do that. You know, you need to complete the whole presentation. If you're a work-centered person, you will immediately say yes to your boss and immediately call up your family members and say, you know, I can't come, and you will be sure that your family understands. You know, you will not even feel guilty that you're not able to take your family out. Now, if you're a money-centered person, now you will stay at work, but your back-end objective of staying at work is completely that you will get overtime. If you're not getting overtime, you know, you will not stay at work. So you're not focused towards that a boss needs you, but you're focused towards that whether you're earning overtime or not. And if you're earning overtime, you will not even feel guilty that you were not able to take your family out for the concert. Now, if you're friend-centered, you know, how will you feel? You will feel whether your friends are coming to that concert or not. You will feel that, you know, oh, my friends are coming, how can I not be there? But at the same time, if your friends are not coming, you will stay at work. You're not bothered with your family, whether they were supposed to go or not. So you're getting me? Every decision is your base is getting taken from what is it that you have in your center. But what happens if you're a principle centered person? You may take the same decisions that you took earlier, but your objective, your back end objective of taking those decisions is completely different. If you have a principle centered approach, you know that you have committed to your family. What will you say? That okay, I will come a little late because my work also needs me. Now you will stay back a little late, but because your boss and your work needs you, your company needs you, not because you're getting overtime, not because you're getting to prove that you're better than that guy who did not stay. So guys, remember, it is always easier to identify someone else's center because their life is so clearly visible to us, but it is always rather difficult to identify our centers. And the centers also keep on shifting based on external internal situations. So technically and practically usually what happens is you keep on shifting and jumping from one center to another and from another center to another. So what happens is sometimes you're feeling really high on life, you're feeling really great, you're feeling joyous, and at another time, and sometimes you feel really bad, dull, sad, because it's like a roller coaster of centers, and you're jumping from one center to another, and thus your life is also kind of a roller coaster ride. So what do I suggest here? I suggest that you should always have a principle based center at your life, at the core of your life. What is a principle based center? Again, when you follow principle based center, what happens is your security comes from the fact that you have a changeless core inside you. So no matter how much the outer environment changes, no matter whether your friends change, no matter whether your spouse divorce you also, no matter whether your family members respect you or don't respect you anymore, no matter whether you have money or no money, you have a changeless core inside you. So you develop a high sense of security because of that. Because in the end, principles are changeless during times. They don't get irritated on us. They don't leave us. They don't divorce us. They don't show their tantrums to us. They don't show their anger to us. They don't change over time. And thus your security comes from the point that, I have a changeless core. Your wisdom and your guidance is always better because a principle-centered person see things differently from other person who have different centers in their life. So he see and visualize and see the life in a more holistic perspective, and thus wisdom and guidance are higher. And at the same time, you feel very powerful because a principle-centered person normally becomes a person who's a more proactive person, who's a more self-aware person, and thus he has a high level of power to act. He is not immobilized all the time. He can take action whenever and whatever kind of actions he deems fit, based on his true principles. So the suggestion here is you should identify a clear sense of principles and have them in your centers. You will have a great and amazing life full of proactivity, full of effectiveness. So guys, I hope you have liked today's video. Please give me a huge thumbs up, like this video, subscribe my channel, and also I will suggest guys that go and read this book by Stephen Covey known as 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. In chapter 2, all these centers are mentioned very clearly and you will gain more knowledge about this. Thank you.